This is Outdated, and welcome to episode 4 of Outdated Reviews. And today, we're going to look at Cyberpunk Red, the Core Rulebook from our Talsorian Games. This is not a review copy. I had to wait till the thing got back in stock. I bought it myself. This is my copy of the Core Rulebook. So, before we really dig into this thing, though, I think we probably need a word from our sponsors. But we don't have a word from our sponsors? Do we have like a syllable from our sponsors? I mean, something. Do we have frickin' sponsors yet? No. No. So, let's take a look at this bad boy. So, first off, the high gloss cover looks nice, and you're going to see, I've got a player's handbook over here. Remember him from episode 1? I did this because I want you to see the difference in size from the side. That works. Cyberpunk is maybe a microscopic hair taller, but it's not really worth it to even discuss, right? Same thing with width, right? But here's where you see a difference. This is the player's handbook. This is Cyberpunk Red. This book's a monster. It's massive, right? Where this one was, if I remember correctly, and I might not remember correctly, 320 pages or so. Cyberpunk Red, we are looking at 456 pages. 456. This thing is a beast. Okay, so let's go ahead and start taking a look at the book. So first off, Cyberpunk Red is actually, I think, the 4th game in this line. It started with the original Cyberpunk, and then came Cyberpunk 2020, which is probably the game that got the most buzz, and it just blew up. Then became Cyberpunk V3. No one talks about it. Apparently it was not very good. And now we have Cyberpunk Red. So Cyberpunk Red takes place in 2045. If you've seen the video game Cyberpunk 2077, and you'll notice that the logo is very similar, it is the same thing. It is just, this is between 2020 and Cyberpunk 2077. So, yeah, it's the same universe. So we'll look at the back here. We've got a nice flat spine, which, one isn't better than the other, but... And let's take a look at what we have here. Welcome to the time of the Red, Chumba. The megacorporations spent decades wrecking everything, and in the aftermath of their last war, everyone has to fend for themselves. But that's just fine. You can handle it. After all, in a world of vicious booster gangs, rampaging cyborgs, corporate assassins, and nihilistic doomsday cults, there's only one rule. Always take it to the edge. Take the big risks, get the big rewards, be the action. Start the rebellion, light the fire. Never drive slow when you can blaze a trail. You've hooked your Militech pistol to the interface in your brain, upgraded your cybernetic fist with carbo-glass blades, and installed cyber eyes that can pierce through the red haze like morning fog. There's a world full of opportunities out there, just waiting for the right edge runner. Maybe that's you. So, that is a really nice introduction, and let's take a look at the book itself. Beautiful art. That is just stunning, right? The quality, very solid, well put together. These edge papers, using this big picture to set the mood, followed by this. Not bad. We've got our table of contents, which is a pretty nice table of contents. All the crew of who, the writers, based on material created by. We've got our interior illustrations, all this stuff. I'm not going to say all those names because I'll probably butcher the pronunciation. Never Fade Away. This takes place in 2013 or 32 years ago. So we start off with Mike Pondsmith, who's the creator of the game. You get a little, forward, I guess. Then we get a piece of fiction. Never Fade Away. It's basically just I'm skipping through a little bit. It's a short story set in the cyberpunk universe, a way to like get you used to thinking in those ways. And now View from the Edge is intro to cyberpunk. So I really like these where it breaks down where you're going to find different information of what you want if you're in a hurry. That is really nicely done. They do it here too. So this is mostly what is a role-playing game, right? And then it gives us a bunch of street slang. They have advertisements in here, like this, and these advertisements would be in the world of Cyberpunk. So they're staying in character. Soul and the New Machine, who will you be? So this is basically character creation. Yes, it's character creation. So it breaks down, there are classes, but this is still a skills-based game. So you have multiple classes: rocker boys, solos, netrunners, techs, med techs, medias, execs, lawmen, fixers, and nomads. You roll ability scores. It breaks down each class. So rocker boy, kind of like a bard, except they made bards cool. The solo, I would say a fighter. Netrunner is closest to a wizard you're going to get because they do like these internet things. Tech, you can repair machines. Med tech, you can repair people. They can both kind of do a little bit of the other one too. Media, so you could be a part of the 24/7 news feed. Executives, so you are possibly one of the bad guys, but possibly not. You could be trying to fix it from the inside. Lawmen, so a cop. Fixer, that's that shady dude that hooks you up. And nomads, people that live outside of the city in the wasteland, right? So you have these different ways to make characters, and there are 3 ways. The street rat way, where you have a template, you just make a couple of choices, you're done. The edge runner, which is fast and dirty, which mostly you can go through this to do. But this you could use for both, really. And then the last one, complete package, which is called calculated. That would make it take a long time to make your character, but you have a lot of freedom. Honestly, the edge runner path is still one of the best character creation things I've ever seen. And that's not even the advanced one. But it shows you, like in this nice flow chart, you do these things, right? And then we go to the next page and we keep going down and then up here and there. So running a life path, that's the next chapter. It's going to break down, like how many people, how many family members do you have still alive and who are they? And do you have any ex-boyfriend or girlfriends and are they alive or what happened? How did that relationship end? It gives you all this detail to play with. The paper stock is thin, semi-glossy paper, and it looks good with this red, with the pink and white in between. Especially pages like these, it looks excellent. I'm skipping a few pages here and there, because each one has their own life path, right? Fitted for the future, the parts of a character. So now we're getting into the rest of the character stuff, like ways to have set it, like here's your template option rules. So these are the possible stats for each character type and different ways to generate them. But again, it keeps this red and white aesthetic, red, white, and black, and it looks really, really good. Fitted for now we're getting into the skills, it looks like, and there's a lot of them. A whole lot of them. Did I mention there's a lot of them? Now we're getting into equipment and gear. I love the pictures of the weapons. They're pretty nice. They're well done. You have stats, armor, how armor works. So the way this game works is you have a difficulty number to hit something. So this will sound familiar. You roll 1d10 plus your skill. And you do that to try to overcome something, right? So I'm trying to see if I can put in Cyberpunk is where you get cyberware. I'll show you when we get there so I can break that down a little more easily. The Fall of the Towers is another short story, which would probably be one of my complaints. I think there are 3 or 4 short stories in here. I don't need all that, right? One would do the trick, breaks down your turn. Each turn you have 1 move action and 1 regular action. Here we go. So your initiative is your reflexes plus 1d10. So that's what it is. It's stat plus skill plus 1d10, I think is how it works. But we're going to find it to be sure. Use an action to use one of your skills to attempt to accomplish something. It doesn't say it there. I may have missed it back a bit. Our attacker stat plus skill plus 1d10. There it is. Against the difficulty value, or DV. So that's what it is. It's the attacker's stat plus skill. So when you do an ability too, like say pick a lock, it's their stat plus their skill plus 1d10, and you're trying to beat a number, right? So here we're going through all these skills, weapons, all this stuff, getting it done. So that's basically how the game works, but I've kind of told you the way things break down. But Cyberpunk is a very different style of game than most. A lot of it, another ad, a lot of it is about what your character looks like. It is a lot of it comes down to how much you impress people when you walk in the door. Friday Night Firefight, this is the combat section. Breaks down how combat works, obviously. Net running, so that's when you're using a net runner and you're trying to like hack a computer or whatever. It's an entire system there. Trauma team, it's how you handle healing and the different ways that you can get some help, including from trauma teams, which you can like call in to come help you, but they're not necessarily the best people ever. Welcome to the Dark Future. This is a detailed history, including a timeline with bullet points and in-depth history. This I liked. One of those short stories and this is enough. That's all I would have needed. We're continuing with the time of the Red, the aftermath of the Fourth Corporate War, which is more of this storytelling, not storytelling really, but the history. I am fine with this. Give me the history and give me one story to kind of like wet my whistle, or maybe two, one at the beginning, one at the end. Here we're looking at some of the companies that are involved: Arasaka, Biotechnica, Continental Brands, Danger Gal, Militech International, Network 54, Petrochem, Rockland Augmentics, Sovoil, Trauma Team, Ziggurat, Zarafa Technical Manufacturing. Okay, welcome to Night City. Now it breaks down the actual city itself. Night City is on the west coast. It's probably somewhere a little bit north of where Los Angeles is today. But of course, most stuff out there's gone. Probably part of Los Angeles is literally in Night City somewhere. But it was a attempt to like forge a new land, and it has survived. So we have details and history again. I mean, after you're done reading this, you're going to understand everything there is as far as like how this world works. Everyday life in the time of the Red. So this basically gives you like what's the world like today. Those last couple of chapters were what was it like back in the day, what happened to get us here. This is what it's like today. The new street economy. So this is how you buy stuff. That's another issue here, is it does this broad method of saying, you know, if it's a costly item, if it's a premium item, if it's an expensive item, it has a set cost. So any expensive item is 500 euro bucks. It doesn't matter if it's an expensive gun or an expensive tie. It's 500 euro bucks. As long as it qualifies as expensive. I do not like that system. I would like them to like have different prices for different things, because that's very oversimplified. Now, there have been some supplements for this game since then. I will review them at some point. I have to read them first. Let's see if they've changed it then, but that is a complaint for now, right? So, I'm skipping some pages here. The new street economy, though, it's a lot. I feel like I'm nearing the end of it, though. Goop? I don't even know what goop is. Alright. Good Lord. Alright, there we go. Running Cyberpunk. If you're going to give me a set, I need this. I need to know how to run the game, what am I supposed to be focused on, what am I supposed to really do here. Beat charts. Running. There's a lot of stuff here. Running Cyberpunk again. Here's some general stats. You could call this a bestiary. This could be the monsters, sort of. Security operative, road ganger, bodyguard, booster ganger, netrunner, reclaimer chief, security officer, outrider. See what I mean? Now, that a pyro and a cyber psycho. It gives me stuff to use because it is a city setting. So, quote unquote, monsters are unlikely. But it also gives me a random encounter table for almost any time. So, we have daytime encounters in Night City. And you have the encounter table, which is a percentile roll. Evening encounters in Night City. Midnight encounters in Night City. And now we get to scream sheets. So I like there to be an adventure for me to play. Okay? This book handles it a couple different ways. One is they give you something called scream sheets. It's right here and goes to there. This 2-page thing is a seed for an adventure. It's more than just a seed, like, I wonder where the car went, right? It's a lot more detailed than that. It treats it like a news story that your characters can get involved in. And so it is not a fully fleshed out adventure, but it is way more than just a seed. Ironic, since that's right there. It's way more than that. It is an already partially grown plant. You just got to water it, right? And it gives you quite a few of them here, including marking like what type of adventure it is. It's a lifestyle thing or whatever. Is this... The Big Break, this is a new one. Then Black Dog, this is another short story. So I mean, that's like 3 short stories. I could have lived without the middle one or even the last one. All right, now here we've got a different type of character sheet, but there's a lot here. This thing is heavy, and most of the character sheets I see do not include that sheet. Then we've got our index. They've got a lot of miniatures for this thing on sale as well. And now more beautiful art on the back, as you can see. Okay. So we've already looked at the basic construction, but now is the moment of truth. Is it glued? Or is it stitched? It's hard to see there. I'm not in a middle thing, but let's take a look. Oh yeah. Stitched binding right there. That is stitched binding, meaning it's going to be a lot more secure. This book has a retail price of $60. Just recently they announced that D&D books are going to go from their $50 price tag to $60. Okay, I shouldn't have paid $50 for a glue bound thing. I am definitely not paying $60. Now if you make that stitched and you make it more pages, because remember, this thing is 450 something pages. And honestly, it's better quality paper. It's a better quality book. If you do that, hey, I'm in, right? I mean, I'd be willing to do it. But I got to have that stitch binding. I need something that I can rely on at the table, right? As it sits on my shelf, it's going to do fine. But whenever I take it out and have to flip through it all night, I want it to work. So let's give this thing a score. All right? So on a scale of 0 to 10, well, first off, yes, it gives me rules, and it does a great job of those rules. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Rules were done fantastic. It also gives me lots of information, lots of anything I could have possibly wanted. It gives me character creation in 3 different methods. A really, really quick one, a somewhat longer and incredible one, and then a ridiculously incredible one that if I wanted to make an entire night of us creating characters and that's it, I could do that. It gives me multiple already started sort of mini adventures. The quality of the book is insane. Okay, on a scale of 0 to 10, I give Cyberpunk Red, the Core Rulebook, a 9.5 out of 10. It is a 9.5 out of 10. This book is fantastic. If you want to get into Cyberpunk, this is literally all you need. I highly recommend you pick it up. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of Outdated Reviews. If so, please like, subscribe, hit that bell, all that mess. And again, I'm only reviewing stuff that I've actually purchased myself. These are things I own, which means I'm not going to feel bad to rip at a new one if I ended up feeling like I got gypped, right? Or that it wasn't worth the money that I paid. So you don't have to worry about that. I will be completely honest. And in this case, oh my God, this is a fantastic product. That's 2 fantastic products in a row, honestly, because the Alien box set was also just a stunner. And heck, I'm trying to remember what I reviewed after that. So it was D&D. Oh, the Agent's Handbook for Dr. Green, also a fantastic product. So give it a try, and I will see you next time on Outdated Reviews.